Thank you, Ms. Kim Britt, for joining me this evening. Appreciate you taking the time to come on here and share your expertise and your experience with our family, friends, and neighbor caregivers who are caring for young children in their home or at the home of that child. So the program that I'm running is called Family, Friends, and Neighbor Caregivers. And right now we are focusing in on the neighbor caregiver who is keeping 2 or more unrelated children in her home, and she's not licensed to do that. And so we want to provide her with information that she can use to help her to better provide a setting that is more educational in nature and helping her to get those children ready to transition either to pre-K or to kindergarten. And so that's why we've asked you to come here today to kind of help her with that. This is Miss Kim Britt, and I can't remember your married name.
Hurt.
Kurt, that's it. So Mrs. Kurt is going to be, I'm going to let her introduce herself. She was working for the school system and has moved over to working for Appalachian State University and was a pre-K teacher for a number of years and is now a kindergarten teacher.
Yes, ma'am.
And is also a parent of a young child herself. So if Ms. Britt, if you would just take a few minutes to kind of give us a background about yourself, I'd appreciate that.
Okay, my name is Kim Britt, and I graduated from Winston-Salem State with my bachelor's in early childhood education. I'm currently back at Appalachian State getting my master's in reading education. Yes, I worked for the school system for 15 years, teaching pre-K, and then went into kindergarten. And then the opportunity came up with Appalachian State University, and I am now teaching kindergarten for them. And this will be my 3rd year teaching kindergarten for them, and it's just been an absolute joy. So I love teaching young children. I love to see the growth that they get.
Thank you for that. So I'm just going to jump right in and ask you a question.
Okay.
Why is a schedule routine so important for the young child?
Well, a schedule with a routine is so important because they need structure. We need structure in our life. Even as adults, we need structure. And we have to remember that small children need that structure. And it's going to pace out their day, and it's going to give them ownership of the hour and the time within that day. So they need that structure.
And I'm going to go ahead and at this point, thank you for sending me this schedule that I'm going to share on the screen at this point. I noticed this is a wonderful schedule that you have here. And this schedule, folks, is for you to use as a template, an example of what you can do during the day. So, Ms. Britt, will you kind of just take us through this schedule, please?
So typically parents will probably drop their children off 7:30. So 8 o'clock, 8:30 breakfast. And within that time, having conversation with the children as they are eating. And then, we all need to use the bathroom and wash our hands. I think in this time that we are going through, washing our hands and teaching them proper hand washing is important. So washing our hands. Younger children need that outside time, so giving them that 30 minutes outside in the morning. And then, of course, we gather germs while we are outside, so we would like to have another bathroom break and wash our hands so we don't get things within the house dirty. After that, sitting in the carpet, even going back outside and taking a book with you and reading a story time, talking about the cover of the book, the pages, doing a picture walk first, reading the story, and finding ways that you can relate the child's life or personal experiences maybe with that book. I also put, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I also put a craft in there, and that could be drawing a picture. You read the story, so now we're going to draw a picture. What was your favorite part in the story? What was your favorite character? What were they doing? What's something that you liked within the story that they were doing, and draw a picture? You can even have them draw and then cut out and paste the picture back together. So I put a craft in there to kind of relate that maybe to the story or something that you've been working with them on. And then I put, after that, a learning activity, which could be puzzles, counting, letter activities, working on their colors. So, and when I say letter games, you could even get you some shaving cream and put it on a plate and have them write their name in the shaving cream. You can get some toys that maybe you have and line them up and have them count them and tell you how many they are. So just a quick and simple learning activity. And kids love puzzles. I know my 4-year-old does. Mm-hmm. And then I thought they've worked so hard in the morning. Maybe they could just have some free play and some time to be imaginative and creative in the morning. And then bathroom and wash your hands again, get ready for lunch, have lunch, talk about what we've done today, just to reiterate the day and have them excited about what you've been doing with them. Again, we've touched our face, we've touched our mouth, we want to use the bathroom, wash our hands again, and then they need that outside time. They've worked hard all day today. They need to get out there and run and get some of that energy out. Again, germs, dirty from outside, we want to wash our hands again. And then I believe that kids need that rest time. Just even if it's for a little bit, not necessarily. Some kids, my 4-year-old doesn't sleep. So, if it's watching a movie, if it's watching something on TV, or even maybe tablet time, something like that. And some of them might even sleep because they have had a long day so far. And then they get up, you have bathroom, you have snack, you go back outside, enjoy that weather, come back in for another bathroom break. I even suggest maybe even an afternoon story time, and not you per se, the adult picking the book, but allow the child to pick the book, something that is of interest to them, and they bring it to you and you guys read it together. And then when they're done reading, because that was a book of interest to them, have them retell you the story or read the story back to you in their own way. So I think that would be a great way to end the day of learning. And then about that time, parents are going to start getting off work, coming to pick them up. So maybe they could have that free play until their parents get there.
Thank you for this schedule. And I'm glad that you have this in there. So what I was going to ask you about is the outside time. A lot of times when home providers, people who have children in their home, they don't take them outside. And so I wanted you to kind of talk a little bit about why outside time is so important for young children.
Well, first of all, they get to explore and they get to run and get to use those gross motor skills that they have. My 4-year-old and I, during the day, we're inside learning and doing stuff like that. But then in the afternoons, we're outside, we're running, we're playing, we're jumping, we're using sidewalk chalk. That's another way. Hey, I'm going to write your name. Or I, as a parent, might draw shapes and say, oh my goodness, what shape is this that I drew? Or what letter is this that I drew? And then there's other fun ways. Like you could even draw letters on like a brick wall, or you could draw shapes and you could give them a water bottle and say, hey, I want you to spray the square off the wall. And then they can take the water bottle and the square will disappear because you've used it with chalk. So learning is not just done inside, it's also done outside. And they also need to get that gross motor movement and get their body moving as well.
And I noticed the schedule that there's no more than maybe about 30 minutes on each particular activity. Why is that?
Young children, their attention span doesn't last long. And so you don't want to make it to where it is so long and boring. Like today, Kellen and I, we were writing his name. And so I like to write it in highlighter and let him trace it and then write it independently on his own. And so it took maybe 5 minutes. And he was excited, talking about the letters, talking about his name. And I was standing there with him and encouraging him. And so the activities don't have to be long. You just want to make them fun and exciting. Because if you're doing it repetitive every day, they're going to learn so much.
Thank you for that. What's the difference between teacher-directed and child-directed?
Well, teacher-directed is I'm in control of the activity that is going on. Child-directed is they're in control of the activity that's going on. And I know I only placed in there a couple times for free play, but even at outside play, you could have it where it is child-directed and not just the teacher adult-directed. So they might say, hey, you want to come over here and play catch with me? That would be a child-directed activity because that is something that they wanted to do. And then at the second story time, allowing them to pick out a book of their interest, that is also being a student-directed activity. And so they're going to have more interest and have more conversation in that story because it's something that they're interested in.
So I noticed over the years, especially in pre-K, that certain times of season, there would be like in the fall of the year, you would have maybe some books in the book room that were around fall and leaves. There would be an activity around going outside and picking up leaves, and then you would be talking about that. So the whole thing kind of tied together. Mm-hmm. And what would be the significance of doing something like that? How would that benefit a child's learning?
So I believe that that benefits a child's learning because you're teaching them something specific that they may not have a lot of information on. Mm-hmm. And guess what? If you don't have the books or the resources at home, you can always sign up for the public library, and they have lots of those different books and resources, fall books. And, you know, we talk about leaves, there's different types of leaves. And so they could pick different types of leaves. They could do a nature hunt. So things in the fall are leaves and acorns, squirrels. So you could do a scavenger hunt with them, and they go out and find those things within that season. And apples and pumpkins, you can even ask the parents to say, hey, I would like next week to do an apple theme and apple lessons with your kid, with your child. Do you mind sending in a red, yellow, and green apple and have them provide that for you? Do you mind getting a small pumpkin? You could carve that pumpkin with them, have them dig out the pulp and fill it, clean the seeds and bake them. So there's lots of different things that you can do.
And the child gets to be involved in that.
Child gets to be involved and it's hands-on because we don't want them sitting down and just looking at a piece of paper and circling things or, you know, just coloring things. Yeah, we want them to be hands-on. That's one of my kindergarten. They love carving a pumpkin, even though we do it all together. They love being able to stick their hands and feel that slimy pulp and the seeds. And then we clean it, and then we get to eat it later. So they really, really enjoy that.
What about assignments? A lot of people don't want to give their children an opportunity to have some type of responsibility, but I think children do like having some type of a task or something to do, right?
Yes. So for my 4-year-old here at home, one of his responsibilities is when we take toys out, we have to put those toys back when we're done. When we're changing clothes from day clothes to bedtime clothes, you have to go put those in your dirty clothes hamper or wherever you put those at. So yes, kids love to help you and be responsible.
And then the routines not only should be while they're with the provider or with the caregiver, the routines also should be at home as well, don't you think?
Absolutely. They need to be on that routine when they get home. You know, this is about the time we're having dinner. We're going to do an activity. Maybe we're going to, not necessarily an activity, but we're going to play a game together. We're going to go outside and do something together. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to come back in and have bath time, story time, and then we're going to get ready to go to bed.
I will say that I tell parents all the time that you can tell a teacher who has really instilled good behaviors and good methods and schedules and routines in her children, because when she's out, the children will come in and do exactly what they've been taught. I mean, they don't miss a beat. They'll come and tell you, well, we're supposed to be doing this now.
Yes.
And they'll go and get the stuff and do whatever it is you're supposed. And Ms. Brooks, you need to be doing this now.
Yes.
Right? And they can tell you what's supposed to be going on in their classroom.
Yes, ma'am.
So, and I really appreciate that in teachers who run a really good classroom, and children know the expectation, and they will rise to the occasion when you give them the tools that they need to have those to do well. Because they really want to please their teachers, and they really want to do well for themselves, and it helps to build their self-esteem
Yes,
as well, don't you believe?
I do believe that, yes.
So I think our little people, we don't give them enough credit sometimes.
They're
They,
little, yeah, that's right. We have to remember they're little people like we're big people.
yeah, and they want to do their best for us. Um, so reading, people are always talking about, reading is fundamental, and so um, I think that some people think that, well, you can read with them tonight, but don't read with them tomorrow. Is reading really something that parents and caregivers need to do with children every day, or is it something that we just do when we have the time to do it?
I believe that it's something you should do with them every day because stories, if it's fiction or nonfiction, they take you to a whole different place. And then the child is able to relate, and is able to relate to personal situations, to things, riding down the road. Like Kellen loves stories about trucks and excavators, and
Mm-hmm.
we're into big rigs now. And so we read books about big rigs and trucks, and we want to find books that they're interested in because we want them to learn how to love reading, not feel like it's something you have to do. It is something that we have to do,
Mm-hmm.
but we want them in the beginning to learn to love to read it. And so we want to find those things, stories that have their interest and things that they like. And so, yes, it is important. Everybody says, well, you got to do it at nighttime. No, you can read in the middle of the day. You can read in the morning. You can read in the afternoon, or you can read at night before you go to bed. But it does not have to be necessarily at night. But yes, it is very important to read to them each and every day. And not only read to them, but have conversations with them about the story. Go back and just look at the pictures. Now, what was this? What does this do? Talk about, if like the three little pigs, why were the three little pigs scared of the big bad wolf?
Mm-hmm.
Because he was big, he was scary, and he wanted to blow their house down. And they're going to be able to answer those questions. So that's just having conversation with them. Kids learn so much through just conversation.
And so I'm glad you mentioned that because I was going to ask you about that. How important is it just to have a conversation with a child, just to kind of see about how they're feeling? Because a lot of times we dismiss the fact that little people do have feelings, they have opinions about things, and we never just kind of check in with them to see how things are going.
Conversations are important. And when you pick your child up, put the cell phone down and talk to them about, if their caregiver's name is Miss Judy, what did you and Miss Judy do today?
Mm-hmm.
What story did you read? Because the caregiver now kind of has like a schedule, and so you kind of know what that's going to look like. So what story did you read? What did you talk about? What were some things that you did outside? What did you do during free play today? So yeah, put the cell phone down when you pick up your child. Give them 5 minutes, even 5 minutes of a conversation. How are you feeling? And that's what I always tell Kellen. It's okay to have that feeling, but let's talk about the feeling and talk about how we move on from that feeling, or how do we accept that feeling. Mm-hmm. So yes, conversations are so important.
And then as a caregiver, learning how to deal with children who may be having behaviors or feelings that they're not used to working with or dealing with. So I guess looking for help with that as well, and trying to help children with behaviors that are not normal.
And maybe try to talk, and also talk to the parent and mm-hmm. say, hey, this is what I've noticed. Did something happen that I need to know about? So mm-hmm. I know how to talk and have that conversation with that student or with that child. So yeah, it's very important for the parent to make sure they're communicating with that caregiver so mm-hmm. they know what's going on if something changes within that child's demeanor or attitude.
So you mentioned that you're using Class Dojo with your families. Do you mm-hmm. find it as a great mechanism to communicate with them, let them know what's going on? Because parents are so busy now.
Oh, absolutely. And it's a great way to post. You can post things. So it's kind of like a Facebook for parents mm-hmm. and teachers. And so like in the classroom, we might be doing an activity. So I'll take pictures of us doing the activity mm-hmm. and then I'll go back and post them to my storyline so parents can see what we have been doing. And And so they've got pictures of it, and they can share it with family members and coworkers or whatever. They can share those pictures as well. And then the kids also realize, oh, you have a way to communicate with my parents.
Mm-hmm.
See this castle I built out of blocks or tree branches or whatever. Can you take a picture and send it to my mom or my dad? And you're like, yes, I can take a picture, and you can send it right to them like you're sending it in a text message.
And the parents do like that. They do like that form of communication.
I've seen the past 2 years, it's been a great resource for me. Yes, ma'am.
So for the person, the caregiver that is keeping children in her home, does she necessarily have to spend a lot of money to have materials, or can she utilize what's in her home in order to provide a good learning environment for children?
You can absolutely use what is in your home. You can use, if you have toys, you can use toys to count with. Even if you have sugar, let's say that you like to make sweet tea and you have a 10-pound bag of sugar and you want to find a fun way for the kids to write their name, you can put it in a rectangular bowl, sprinkle a light bit of that sugar, and you can have them trace their name with their finger within that sugar. Have them wash their hands because it might get sticky, and then dump the sugar out and wash the bowl. So yeah, you can use things like sugar. You can save toilet paper rolls and paper towel rolls to make crafts with. You can make binoculars and go out and do a scavenger hunt. They could take, if you had paint, they could take paint and make circles with the toilet paper rolls. Lots of different things. If you have beans, dry beans, if you cook with dry beans, you can count out dry beans. You can do lots of different things with that. You can even put dry beans in a bowl, and you can hide little toys within. You could even, for the fall, we was talking about fall, you can go get like acorns and leaves and different things like that. You can hide it within the beans and say, now I want you to find the acorn, and they have to dig within the beans to be able to find the acorn. So yes, there's lots of things that you can use within your home.
And do you have any sites that the caregiver can go to kind of get some ideas of things that she can do with children?
One thing that I do and my coworkers do is we Google. I mean, we Google a lot of things. I might say I'm looking for a ladybug activity.
Okay.
And then just hundreds of ladybug activities. Pinterest is another really good one to look up activities. You can, again, you can say fall leaf activity, and it'll give you lots of different activities to do with that. So Pinterest is a really good one, but just Google and put the activity that you want in there is a really good one as well.
Okay, I like the idea of signing up for the library to get information, because you can download books on there, and then also they'll have lots of activities as well that you can use as well for you. And then I believe that you can also, I think they still allow the librarians to come out to you and will read with children, community outreach is part of what they do. So I want to thank you, Ms. Britt, for taking the time to come out here and talk with us today. I know that the information that you shared today is going to be very helpful for these caregivers who are keeping children in their homes, and we want to provide just an easy, simple way for them to have some information that they can use that's not going to be costly to help the children that they're keeping, because as of this weekend, we found that 800 children did not sign up for kindergarten in Forsyth County, and so those children are being kept somewhere, and we want to make sure that the folks that are keeping them will be providing them with some type of learning that will be going on. So I do want to take a few minutes to talk about Childcare Resource Center. Childcare Resource Center is located at 500 West 4th Street, Suite 202, here in Winston-Salem in the Louis Building. And it's been around for over 25 years, and it provides child care information and resources to both individuals and businesses. And so if you are a family looking for child care services, or you are a business looking for services, you're looking for a nanny, or you need help with paying for child care, or you're looking for a child care center or family home provider that's licensed, or you want to advocate for child care to increase the pay increase the amount of money that the state provides, or the federal government, so that we can have good quality childcare in these counties. And Childcare Resource Center provides services in Ashe, Allegheny, Davidson, Davie, Forsyth, Stokes, Surrey, Wilkes, and Yadkin counties. So we have a huge database. So if you want information about anything concerning childcare in those counties, call us. But also anything around families. So if you're needing help with medical information, or with housing, or with food, please call us at 336-245-4900. Also, we have this app that's called Vroom. Vroom is a free app that you can download that gives you information about the developmental milestones of children birth to 5. And so you've got a 3-month-old, you download it, put in 3-month-old, it tells you what the milestone should be and the very simple activities that you can do with that child. Or if the child's 5 years old, or like Miss Britt's got a 4-year-old, Kellum, she can download that app, put in he's 4 years old and 3 months, and it'll tell her exactly what kind of activities she can do with him that are quick and easy to do with him. So I want to thank her again for being on this video with me today, providing that very wonderful, easy schedule that you can now use and customize and for you and your business. Thank you again, Miss Britt. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being on the call today. Talk to you guys later. Keep and stay safe. Bye-bye.